Hey everybody, this is Jeremy Cioara, coming to deliver another webinar to you. This one focused in on creating an ICND2 training plan. I'm grinning because I'm looking at that picture of me that's on the background, because people say, when they actually meet me, they go, they kind of stare because they're like, do you always look that way? Do you always, are you always that hyped up? No, but I can probably guarantee you by the time this webinar is done, I will be looking like that because it's actually really exciting for me to talk about this topic above all because it's not just applying to ICND2. It's applying to your life and essentially your way that you can get this information into your mind. So what I've put together is 6 principles. I'm going to tell you they're very simple, and you're going to look and you're going to say, okay, yes, I've got it. Yes, I've got it. I'm sure some of you will go, wow, okay, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. But I want to emphasize and re-emphasize these things as we go through. So my goal here is not to consume 30 minutes of time. My goal is to take as much time as we need to convey these things out so that you can be set up for the best possible success. In this case, spinning it directly towards getting a CCNA certification. So let's get started. I'm going to dive straight in to principle number 1. There is no shortcut. One of the most common questions that I've gotten as I've taught at CBT Nuggets over the years and years and years is, if I watch your videos, will I pass the exam? I get that all the time, still this day. If I watch your videos, will I pass the exam? Oh, how I wish it was that easy. If I watch surgery on TV, can I be a surgeon? If I watch a video on how to drive a car, will that mean that I'm a competent car driver? The answer is no. Training is meant to help you succeed. For example, if I were to say, I would like to cut the grass, you can either do that via scissors, or you could do that using a lawnmower. Now, the lawnmower doesn't just get out and start driving and mow the lawn, although with our age of automation, that probably will come fairly soon. But it requires you to actually get there. Now, the fact is, you could make the grass shorter without a lawnmower using scissors. You could study for your CCNA using Google and searching and trying to put all these puzzle pieces together. But it's harder to do that. So the training is there to help you succeed, but sitting and watching the training does not mean you will succeed at the exam. As a matter of fact, it probably means you won't succeed at the exam. If you just sit and watch the training, there are other things that have to come together in order to make you successful. So principle number 1 is there is no shortcut. Now, some people will argue, and when they see that, go, well, if I'm studying for a certification like ICND2, can't I go in, grab a brain dump of some sort and try and memorize the exam questions and pass that way? Isn't that a shortcut? Maybe. I guess if the end of your game is get a certification and say, yes, I have passed that exam, yes, but it will catch up to you. It's going to be death to your career in the long run, and I'll leave it at that. So there is no real shortcut to do something well. Principle number 2, set your vision. There's a old proverb that says, without vision, people perish. If you don't say, this is what I'm going after, as in my example right there, I will achieve my CCNA certification by May 10th, 2017. Obviously, today is March 8th, 2017. This is my mark, and this is what I'm going after. Then you will probably not ever succeed to get there. It becomes one of those good ideas that you will do when you have time, and the problem is nobody has time. So you have to set that mark and set that date, and I would encourage you to back that up a little bit, meaning schedule your exam for that date so that you will have some money on the line, some built-in motivation that you're going, okay, I don't want to lose that money. I don't just want to go and waste my time. So I better spur myself on a little bit to get there. So set that vision. Now, the specific thing that a lot of people may have gotten by going to the CBT Nuggets website is to create the plan. I put that little quote down at the bottom. That's actually a true fact. Most Americans spend more time planning a vacation than anything else in their life. Now, I don't know what the surveys say outside of America, but that's true. We do very little planning. We do a lot of doing, like, hey, I'm going to go play basketball. I'm going to go watch a movie. I'm going to go out to eat. We kind of live on a whim, but we do very little planning as to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go after this mark or something to that effect. So, for example, you will find on the CBT Nuggets website, there is a sample ICND2 plan. I'm going to give you some pictures of that. This is what it looks like, where it says, okay, this is going to be a 10-week plan to achieve your ICND2 certifications. And what it does is lay out the videos in chronological order to say, okay, if you watch these videos, this day you would spend 17 minutes, this day you would spend 27 minutes, this day you would spend, et cetera, et cetera. So, and it would take you, I think, by the time this plan reaches the end, you end up going through the videos in 6 weeks, and then you have the last 2 weeks to start studying and prepping and all those kind of things. Now, this is where, and I'll shoot back right here, your customization will come in. I will say for myself, to actually just sit and watch a series, which I've done many times. I learn things from other instructors here at CBT Nuggets. If I sit and watch a series, I can make it through maybe about one video before I get a little bit antsy, because I look at it and I go, okay, that was cool. For instance, Sean Powers teaches Linux material, and I watched one of his Linux videos, and I know that if I sat there and watched it, that was great, but I want to try it. I want to actually set up a Linux server. I want to, he just showed me how to install an Apache web server. I want to install Apache web server. I want to actually go out there and do it. So I might look at my plan. Let me hide my little marks here. I might look at my plan and say, you know what? Day one, I watched, Welcome to Apache on Linux, but I wanted to do that as well. So don't just budget 16 minutes on day one to do that, at least for myself. Put in there some time to actually do a lab and work through that. Does that make sense? Good. Principle 4, set your mind. I'm looking at that quote. I thought I had changed that out down at the bottom. I want you to hate the ends. I wasn't planning to share the story because I actually had planned to change it out to a different story, but now I can't remember the other story, so I'll explain where the hating the ants came from. A very young Jeremy got married to his lovely bride. And there was this problem in the summertime where we ended up with ants in our house. And it wasn't lots. I mean, hear me when I say this. It wasn't like we walked out. I'm like, oh wow, look at the colony that has moved in. It's like like 5. Like there's always just, if you walked around at any time, you would probably be able to spot 5. There's one on the trim. There's one on the floor. There's one. And my wife, and this is Jeremy, you're one of marriage. She'd go, Jeremy, there's ants in the house. And I would come out, and this is going to sound really gross, right? I would come out, I would lick my thumb. I don't know if anybody else does this, because they're little, like sugar ants. They're not even big. They're not even the ones that bite, right? So they're little sugar ants. I lick my thumb, I stick it to the ant, and I walk over to the sink and go, whoosh, down the sink it goes. Next day, Jeremy, there's ants in the house, and I would, okay, let me get up. And, I'm still trying to figure out my wife, obviously, in all of this. And she kept getting more frustrated. I kind of got frustrated. And I finally asked her, I said, hon, why are you calling me to get these ants? You can lick your finger, which totally grossed her out, by the way, when she first saw me do that. You can get a Kleenex and you can pick these ants up. And she looked at me just kind of upset. And she goes, I want you to hate the ants. I want you to find out why these ants keep showing up in my house and fix that. And I looked at her, and this is why I removed the story from this whole thing. I was like, oh, I don't even know if I want to tell that story. But I looked at her, young Jeremy, said, honey, I don't hate ants. I don't. I think they're God's creation. They do good things. That the fact that there's a few of them scattered in our house from time to time, and I have to squish them. I don't hate the ants. and I'll save you the conversation that followed. But I can tell you today, here I am, 15 years later from that conversation, I hate ants. If I see the ants in the house, I'm like, oh, those ants got to go. Those ants have to go. And a matter of fact, I need to find out why those ants are getting in our house in the first place. What, crack in the foundation is? How are they getting in? Now, I tell you that story simply to say that you can renew your. I don't want to give away my next principle. You might have seen it. Don't look. You can set your mind in such a way that you will be able to start memorizing this material. And what I mean by that, and here's how the ants and CCNA and ICND2 and anything else that you want to learn comes together. Every new thing that I learn, I initially don't like. I know it sounds weird, but I really didn't want to get into voice over IP when I first got into it. Matter of fact, for the first probably month or two, I would say I hated voice over IP. I didn't want to be a phone guy. I didn't, I just, okay, this is a new technology. I guess, okay, I got to learn. And so I would sit there and I would force myself to read the book again and again and again. And to the point where I was like, oh, okay, I don't get that. And it frustrates me, but I'm gonna get that. So I'd go on Google and I'd watch some videos. I'd try and figure some stuff. Oh, okay, I think I get it. And the more that I found, I set my mind and started to learn something, the more I realized that I was beginning to, now I can flip my slide, build a passion for it. What I mean by that is I started to like it. Things like the Nyquist theorem, things like the routing principles of OSPF and multi-area design and configurations and stuff that I just, when I first saw it, I'm like, I don't get it. The more I set my mind and literally forced myself to do that, just like I did with the ants, I was like, okay, I would see the ants. I'm like, I need to hate those ants. I need to hate. Now, don't get me wrong. I still don't go around out on the sidewalk squishing ants because I hate ants. But applying it, I don't want them in my house. Why? Because I love my wife and I want to make sure that she doesn't have ants that bother her. So that's what I've done is I now have a passion against ants in my house, and I have a passion for technology. If you, I can't tell you, I'm not going to tell you the series I'm created right now. Actually, you can go on the Cisco website, what am I saying? The CBT Nuggets website, and you can actually find this current series that I'm creating. I have never been more excited to do a series as what I'm doing right now. And people you'll watch that and be like, dude, you're like ecstatic about doing your job. You're about doing, running. I don't want to give it away. You'll have to go to the CBT Nuggets website and dig around and find out what's Jeremy currently building. I have a passion for it, and it radiates out of me to the point where, obviously you guys, the people that are listening right now, are the benefits of that. You see me get into some Cisco technology. I'm like, oh, and then this, and then this, and this. How did it get there? It didn't just happen. It didn't just, Jeremy woke up one day and was like, I think I'm really excited about technology. Matter of fact, Jeremy woke up one day and said, I don't feel like doing anything with technology. I don't, that's the normal Jeremy. But once you start setting your mind and you push past those barriers that are built in yourself of resisting change, it's the same thing as, somebody, I would say, I have not set my mind on a workout routine, right? I never did that. So at this point I'm looking and I'm going, I should probably set my mind on a good workout routine. I just haven't had the time yet. I'm too passionate about the technology, right? I put this little quote down there, indulge yourself. Our world, and I live in America, so I can only speak American, right? In America, it is all about you. It is all about something for nothing. Like, you go to, I put the indulge yourself, because you go to Bed Bath & Beyond, where my wife gets her soap, right? And there's like the raspberry, it's raspberry soap, right? Raspberry scented soap. And you flip it around and it's like, you deserve it. Indulge yourself. Buy this soap and your life will be, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I not know about this soap all this time, right? Like everything's that way because everything is supposed to make you feel like you can get something for $2.50. I just saw on a infomercial attachment where you can actually stick these electrodes on your body, and it will shock you while you watch TV to stimulate your muscles and cause you to lose weight. I'm going, that is insane. The fact that they would even be able to make something like that people would buy to attach electrodes. You get where I'm going, right? We live in a world of simple. It's all just simple. Just buy these electrodes and you will be muscular before the next episode ends. The fact is, once you have set your mind, these two, and you can see I'm just dwelling on 4 and 5. These two go hand in hand, and they are your keys to success. Once you set your mind on what you're going after and build a passion, then you truly can indulge yourself. I can tell you that I wake up in the morning, and some of you are going to think I'm crazy. I usually show up to the office where I record all my CBT Nuggets around 5 a.m. And at 5 a.m., I start recording. And you'll see in the next series, I actually start putting some video in the next series, all the windows are dark when I'm recording, because it's literally before the sun comes up, and I'm thrilled to be there. I look forward to coming in and doing what I do. Simply, it doesn't just happen, right? Can I emphasize that? You kind of got to put yourself to it until the point where then you can indulge yourself in the things that you enjoy, right? So, last principle. Fail faster. I've seen two things happen as people go take the exam. One, they are afraid to fail, so they never schedule the exam. Or if they schedule the exam, they keep bumping the date out, reschedule. Or they go to take the exam, they tried their best, they studied hard, and they failed the exam. And they have been so beaten by that that they never go back again. And so what I will say is fail faster and fail with as much grandiose as you can. Go through that. If you continue in the Cisco certification program, if you haven't done this already, if you haven't already failed an exam, you will. I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but these things are hard. I have taken I don't even know. I've been doing this for 20 years, lots of exams, and I've passed a lot, and I have failed a lot, and that's okay. Like even as I say that, I'm like I can feel myself, and it's probably my own ego, maybe, as I say I've failed a lot. Like just that was a Jeremy moment where I was like, that was hard for me to say right there, but it's true, and the fact is, it's part of learning. And if you resist that, that's why I say fear factor, take the leap, just go out there. And especially, I know a lot of people have said, well, should I buy all these practice exams? And I'm like, no way. Now, hang on. They come with your CBT Nugget subscription, so use them. Use them if you got them. But a lot of people will spend hundreds of dollars on practice exams. And I'm like, just take the leap, just take the $100 and go take the exam. Then you've actually seen the real thing, and even if you don't pass, you've been exposed to it. You can now start growing in the areas that you are weak, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is what keeps now. And please don't hear me say because I could see this coming across. As you're like, okay, I'm setting my mind, I'm building my passion. That's awesome, and I go and I failed. And I don't feel like I think Jeremy would feel right now. I think Jeremy would probably look like that, walking out of the exam. I failed. That was awesome. No. No, I don't. It's a bummer. I come home. My wife is like, what's the matter? I'm like, I failed. I failed. And there's an ant on the floor. What's going on with this world? It's just so. It's not, you're human. It's not fun to fail, especially when you got to go back and you got to do it all over again. But you just got to realize that is part of the process. So that being said, that's my 6 principles for creating this. And I could fly through them again, but I'm seeing a flurry of questions that people have been asking. So let me see if I can find any that have been marked, or if I should just go at them. I'm looking. I see someone saying, hi from Romania. Hello, brother. Many people don't know Cioara is actually a Romanian name. My father was born in Transylvania. Might explain a little bit more about me as well. So let me just, some of these are long, so I'm just gonna go at it. So by the way, if you are still hanging on and you're like, okay, is there more? No, that's it. I'm just going to start taking questions that people have chatted in. So if you have to go, it has been awesome, and I hope and I wish you well. For now, I'm just going to flip on over to the questions. So I'm not going to try and pronounce names. I'll just read the questions. One of the previous lab's recommendations was to buy a Cisco 1721. Hang on, let me grab my pen here. Grab my pen. There we go. Hey, stop. Nope. Oh, great. So PowerPoint, I'm still, there we go. All right. So the question is, Cisco 1721, is that still my recommendation? Okay, hang on, let me read the question. It came, I bought it and it came with 2 WICs, that's WAN interface cards, I can never get to work with my ISP because of CSU DSU's issues. Please recommend a different router I can use in my home lab. Second question, how can we configure PPPoE, PPP, HSRP in our home lab, and what kind of routers or switches can we buy to accomplish this? So first off, wow. A lot to that question. I'm going to boil that down to 2 things. One, do I still recommend the 1721? Yeah, because it's got a couple Ethernet interfaces. But I would actually go with something a little more modern nowadays, maybe something smaller like the 800 series. And again, I always recommend stuff that's small. Or if space isn't an issue, just grab a 2621 XM router that's got your 2 Ethernet ports, and that will, just about every carrier delivers their services via Ethernet now. DSL cable, you can at least adapt them to Ethernet. So anyway, that's what I'll say on that. Second thing is asking about specific technologies in a home lab. You can't do everything. As much as I would love to, you simply can't test, for instance, IPv6 with your service provider in a live environment. You can't test PPPoE if you don't have a DSL connection that supports PPPoE, and that's okay. The core of CCNA is what I would love for you to go after. The fringe ones, I mean, that's what GNS3 and Packet Tracer and what's the Cisco Network Academy one? Is it Packet Tracer? I think it is. No. Viral, that's what it is. Viral can be used for emulate those environments. Next question. Excited for the webinar. Just got finished with ICND2. Enjoyed Jeremy's teaching style. Looking for, okay, great. Thank you. Will CBT Nuggets commission Jeremy for an ICND test walkthrough? I say this because while I feel confident through the lessons and short quizzes, I can only get up to 60% in transcender practice exams. Great question. Maybe. I think right now there is a exam walkthrough done by Keith Barker and Anthony Sequeira, which is excellent. It's for the older CCNA, but I believe they are updating it. I could be wrong, but I believe they are to the new CCNA, and that would help you out in that area. I really wanted, next question, wanted to earn a CCNA. I've studied your old videos. I got them from a friend. Thanks, brother. And I deeply love your videos, but the cost is very high to get them locally. What can we do for less advanced countries? Will your company build talent to create opportunities for Africans and poor countries? Actually, yes, I believe so. Matter of fact, I have a friend who just moved to Ethiopia, which he has been, we've been actually collaborating together of how do we get, he's a college professor. I'm an IT guy. And I'm like, man, I would love to figure out a way to get training over there. And he said, Jeremy, the culture here would not be able to handle you. He said, it's so slow here. People drink coffee for 2 hours. Anyway, I'm digressing. Yes, I know CBT Nuggets actually has a ton of different international and charitable, et cetera, outreaches that they're doing. So I will refer that question over to there. Last one. Oh, holy cow. It was the last one. Now there's a lot more. So let me do this. I'll take the next 5 minutes and answer as many as I can. I'll go fast. Hi, Jeremy. I'm confused. Which technology to specialize, or is there any point in specializing at all? It seems like most jobs look for people who know a bit of everything. I'm working as a system support analyst, which covers all technology, but I want to specialize in Cisco. I find most of my time is, et cetera, et cetera. And let me just hit the core of your question, which I'll boil down to say this. Is it better to go wide and broad in your studies, or is it better to go deep into a technology? And I would say yes. I would say yes. Yes, go deep first and then spread wide as you grow. I always tell, for instance, in the network technology world, I say, grab a CCNA, routing and switching, go to CCNP, routing and switching, and then let your own interests carry you. If you're interested in security, if you're interested in voice, if you're interested in system administration, et cetera, go those different directions. There are still gazillions of jobs where you can specialize and you can be nothing but a system admin. But a lot of jobs are expecting you to be able to be in diverse technologies. What you'll find the longer that you're in this field, and this is honestly one of the things that I go after when I try to train. I try to train sometimes. You know what I mean. When I'm training, I try to get people to the point where they go, I can do this. I can do this. That's if I've achieved that with my training, like all the information and all the stuff and all that stuff I can convey, if I can embed that in your soul, that you go, I've watched that. I think I could do that. I just was reading that book to my kids. I think I can. The little train going up over the hill, right? You can do this. And if I can put that in you, you'll realize, and I'm getting back to that question, you can do anything. You can be in a career where you're a system admin and they say, hey, can you learn how to work in AWS Cloud? Or maybe after the huge outage that Amazon Web Services had, they're like, can you move us off of Amazon Web Services Cloud? Or, whatever it is, you'll hear it. You'll be like, I have no idea how to move that. I've never even opened Amazon Web Services. But you would go, but I think I can. I think I can. You'll start opening it up and you'll start clicking around and be like, okay, I'm getting this, because as your experience becomes more diverse, you start realizing technology is technology. You can learn it. I use one of the, anyway. I've got to bite my tongue. So many more questions. 2 minutes left. Let's see what else I've got. Okay. Hey, Jeremy, after CCNA, do you recommend going after another CCNA? Hey, that's funny. That's almost what I just answered. Go after another CCNA or go to CCNP? My personal recommendation is go CCNA, go CCNP routing and switching, then go diverse, then go into all the different specialties that you can get. Just because that CCNP adds the richness where you'll start looking at the other CCNAs and you're like, oh, okay, I get that. You'll just get stuff faster. Let's see. Is there going to be a CCNA accelerate? I think that's what the AX is. Accelerated course? No. You can just turn up the speed of my talking if you can handle it. By the way, oh my goodness, don't do that. I can't even understand myself on normal speed most of the times because I get so excited. I start talking so fast. I know some people increase the speeds of the videos because it's like, it's like going to the store and they're like, oh, 10-minute abs workout video, and next to it's 5-minute abs. You're like, oh, sweet. I'm going to get the 5-minute abs because then I'll just get abs faster. Anyway. For the labs, will you provide the GNS3 images for practice? Great question coming in. No, actually. The reason why is I did that in the previous version of CCNA, and actually ICND2 this time around has way more hands-on practice than the previous version. But what I found is, number one, GNS3 changes so much that the lab files wouldn't work, or you'd have to download old versions and all that. But the bigger thing that I found is there's something that you get when you build the topologies yourself and start, putting all the puzzle pieces together than walking into something that's already pre-built. You know what I mean? You if it's pre-built, you most of the time will just end up spending more time, trying to get the pre-built thing to work and understand what some pre-builder did than actually doing it yourself. Okay, we're at 11:30 my time, but let me hit one more question before 11:31. Let's see. would you say, no, I already answered that. I'm currently, okay, let's grab this one. Heath. I'm currently preparing for ICND2 and reading Todd Lamel's Routing and Switching Study Guide. My goal is to be CCNA by the end of the year. How long do you feel is adequate and the amount of study time to be prepared for each test? 10 weeks or ... Now that is a great question, which comes at the heart of this. So I'm gonna come back to this. Creating a study plan for yourself. Now, I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. Oh, well, just create the study plan and you'll, right? And this it kind of tails off because whatever. You've got to look at your life and you've got to prioritize. For me, I train. I run a company that does actually what I teach and implements networks all over the world. I have 6 children ages 10 and under, and I have one wife who obviously needs help, who homeschools our kids and expects me to help teach some of that content. So I look at my life as I just picked up becoming the assistant coach of my son's baseball team, and I go, wow, how do I do that? Now, I will tell you, Heath, so going back to Heath's question, how long do you think I should prepare? It depends how much time you can scrape away from your schedule. For me, when I look at the schedule right here, 16 minutes, like on day one, just gets me started. That's where I'm like, okay, that's good. I've set my mind. I can finally put away, hitting the child with the baseball bat in practice and now refocus my mind on that. So that 16 minutes right there just gets me in the game. I can't do it at 16 minutes. I need an hour to actually get anything productive done. So when I look at myself, when I'm studying something, I block out an hour chunk. And for me, you know what time it's from? 10 p.m. to 11:30. That's usually my study time where I'm learning something new. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. the next morning and I drive in and I create the training that you have. I don't sleep that much and that's okay to me. I don't want to make this about me by any means because some people are like, well, you're a super guy. No, I'm not. I'm tired most of the time. I rely on my own passion for what I do to keep me going. Now, I'm rounding the bend on 40 years old. Will that catch up to me? I don't know. So please don't hear me say, just do what I do, because I may hit 40 and be like one of those guys you read about that's like, man doesn't sleep and falls over dead. So what I'm saying is you've got to look at what you have in your life and say, okay, what will I sacrifice? For me, I said, I've got enough really important stuff that I've got to sacrifice sleep. And so I decided to do that a long time ago, and my body has adjusted, and I've worked all right ever since. So how long can it take you? It depends how much you can carve out. When I was learning, and also keep in mind, let me hang on, let me flip here. I took longer on that question than I thought. Please, hang with me. When I was studying for CCNA back in the day, this is around 2000 when I was studying there, I had a totally unfair advantage, and that was I was a full-time, all-the-time trainer. I was paid to study. So I would come into work and I would study while I was at work, 4 hours a day, those kind of things. So I was able to get through the entire CCNA in a month because that's all I did. But I would say it probably took me, I can't even, it's hard for me to think. And so much has changed. The CCNA is totally different than it was, 20-ish years ago when I originally took it. I can't. It's too diverse. So how long should I be prepared? I would say if you are working a full-time job and have a normal life, 10 weeks is a great time. That's why CBT Nuggets put together 10-week training plans for everything, realizing that just watching the video, don't look at the training plan saying, okay, 16 minutes there, 20 minutes there, I've got my CCNA by the time it's done. No, there's a lot of stuff to wrap around that. I'm going to make this statement, and don't hold me to it. If you were to dedicate an hour a day and follow that schedule, I think you could. I think you could get, for instance, ICND1 and ICND2 nailed out in, that would be a matter of 20 weeks, right? To have a CCNA in your hands. So if we're looking for a hard answer, that's what I would say. But with that being said, it has taken me 5 minutes beyond where I thought I would be. So with that being said, thank you guys for coming. And Jack, I will turn the floor back over to you.